Good day ladies and gents. Today we have Reddit stories. Enjoy. When I lived in Jefferson Park in Chicago, I would take the Blue Line home from work at night and cut through the park on my way back to my apartment. One night, after I had just got off an 11-hour shift, I was walking through the park like usual towards Lawrence Avenue. Usually I'm the only one there, or there's another commuter walking home with me. This time as I'm walking through alone, this guy walks out of the shadows next to this community center in the park and is now walking about 15 meters behind me. No big deal. I figured he had just gone to piss in the bushes, which I had done on many an occasion after a night of drinking. So I'm walking along and I realize this guy is now about 5 meters behind me, but he's not trying to pass me. He's matching my pace. At this point I'm on Lawrence, and I'm still thinking he's probably just walking home too. I go to cross the street a couple blocks away, and when I turn to see if there is a car coming, I see he's even closer to me. Like, really close. Weird. He crosses with me and he starts walking faster to keep up as I speed up my pace. Now this is really weird. I cross the street again at a random part of the street to see if he follows. He does. I cross the street again. He follows again. He's definitely following me. So as I'm nearing my apartment I'm realizing I don't want this guy to know where I live. So I stop, pull out my knife and turn around. We make eye contact for what felt like 5 minutes, but was probably only like 25 seconds. Neither of us says a word. He doesn't look scared, but he looks surprised. I turn back around and keep walking. He turns left at the very next intersection. To this day I don't know if I saved myself from a mugging by showing this guy I was ready for a fight, or if I just scared the shit out of some poor bastard just trying to get home too. Better safe than sorry, I guess.
Back when I was in the army, we ran into something pretty inexplainable during a regular navigation exercise. So navigation exercises are pretty standard throughout the world. Given a map and some coordinates, you have to find checkpoints using a compass. Of course, each squad was given a signal set to use in case of emergencies, or just to add to the weight they had to lug around. It's part of their kit anyway. There's a GPS embedded inside, but it's old school, and gives coordinates only. Close to the end of the exercise, a squad had fallen hopelessly behind, but they were on their way to the last checkpoint. So I was in charge of the last checkpoint with another fellow instructor. We knew they were around us in a 1 kilometer radius. Couldn't spot them due to foliage. We waited and waited for about 1 to 2 hours. You don't mess up so frigging bad that you can't figure out a checkpoint that's 1 kilometer away. We radioed them and did not get a reply till a half hour after the initial call. They were frantic. Seems like they were walking around in circles and seeing similar landmarks. It was apparently pitch dark at where they were, and this was around 6 p.m, where the sun was only starting to set. Me and the other trainer told them not to move, and we hiked to their position using our electronic GPS. And at the coordinates given, we found no one. The forest was also eerily quiet. No insects, no birds, just dead silence. It was pretty unnerving. The radio set was silent. Not even static was coming out. We radioed them again, and they said they were at the same coordinates as us, but I saw no one. We decided to hike back to the checkpoint and wait. We gave them the coordinates to the checkpoint. About an hour later they emerged. Took them 4 hours plus to find a checkpoint like 1 kilometer away. During final briefing, one of them told me they seemed to walk around in circles. They kept leaving marks on trees using a blade, but when they came back to what should have been the tree that they marked, the mark was gone. They also felt like they were being followed, but that should just be the forest and exhaustion playing tricks on them, right? Many moons ago I was an editor. Was cutting a commercial late at night and deadline required I stay overnight to finish. I'm on the second floor of a 30-story building. Half the floor is editing suites and the rest is rented out to various businesses like designers, developers, mostly tech companies. except for one office, which was the largest on the floor, about 600 square feet, and belonged to a psychiatrist. It's about 3 AM, and I'm super focused on my work. Suddenly realize I'm starving. Deli across the street from me is 24/7, so I decide to get some food. All the offices have sliding frosted glass doors. I open mine, and realize the floor is completely empty and dark. Save for the emergency exit lights, it's dead and dark. I get my food and come back. Close the door and watch some YouTube while I eat. Suddenly I hear the elevator bang down the hallway. I knew that the entire building except for the 19th floor was empty. 19th floor was some French company. There wasn't even anyone at the front desk. You had to swipe in with a keycode at 2 doors in the lobby. I slowly slide the door quietly and stick my head out of the office. Nothing. I see the light from inside the elevator casting a light onto the floor. But I couldn't see in because the way the hallway was set up. Eventually I lock the office door, put my giant headphones on, and get back to work. At some point I must have fallen asleep because around 5:30 a loud knocking on the glass wakes me up. I jump up, open the door, and see one of the building managers and a cop. I walk out into the hallway and hear a commotion and see more cops. They ask me what I'm doing here, so I explain. They ask if I saw or heard anything, and I say no because headphones and fell asleep, etc. Cops walks away towards the other cops. I ask the manager what's going on, and she tells me that someone broke into the building, somehow bypassing the 2 doors downstairs that required a key card, broke into the psychiatrist's office, and stole files on 3 patients according to what the doctor told her and the cops. I was there that whole time, either working or asleep, and didn't hear anything. When she told me this, I almost crapped myself. I mean, to go after 3 specific files takes some serious dedication to your mission. All I could think about was, since it wasn't some petty robbery and there are tech offices all over the floor, I kept thinking what might have happened to me had I run into them. I ended up leaving that place several months later. Posted this before, but it fits here. I'll say in the beginning I don't really believe in premonitions and such, but I don't have an explanation for what happened. I don't know if I would say the only possibility is paranormal, but it was damn weird. I have had several dreams similar to what I'm posting. I've been a caver in Florida for about 13 years, since I was about 6, and have been to a lot of caves. Never been afraid before this to go in one. When I was about 7 or 8 years old, I started having this reoccurring dream. I would have it at least twice a year, always the same, even though I would realize I was dreaming after the first few iterations. I would fall asleep and dream of being in a cave and going into this little hole in the bottom. Inside I would see a 10 to 15 foot long corridor about 2 to 4 feet high. At the end it would always turn left, and I always saw a bent red stop sign at the end, like someone ripped off the top 2 feet and tossed it in. But I would always follow the corridor. I would turn and walk past the sign despite being scared, despite many times knowing what was there, and the corridor would start descending, quickly opening up into a large vertical chamber with a path leading down in a corkscrew. Everything became blurry at this point, but it was always the same. I saw trash scattered on the walls. I saw the pit leading down to a curved floor. I saw things, undefined, animals or people or something else at the bottom. And I saw my family, each with one of the things, being tortured and killed. Every time. And I could never do anything. After I saw that, I would be stuck for a few seconds, until I felt more than saw everything turn and look at me. And I would wake up. Not like a normal dream where you just drift to consciousness, or a nightmare where you bolt up in fear, but like something pushed me out. Like I wasn't supposed to be there. So I have this dream multiple times a year, until I turn 15. My father decided to take us to some caves we never had been before, one of which was Dog Drop. It was likely named so, because someone either threw their pet in there, or another dog fell in, and the body was later discovered. Dog Drop had a roughly 30-foot rappel straight down to enter. I went down with my brother, while my father waited up at the top. There was a hole in the ground. I started to feel uneasy, though I didn't know why. So I followed my brother into the hole. I felt worse as I moved down. And when I looked up I saw the same corridor. The same turn, the same wall, the same bottles at the corner. And I instantly was hit with this overwhelming sense of nausea and fear, and being watched, and everything was screaming at me to leave. I froze and must have made some noise, because my brother turned around and asked what was wrong. I managed to say I wanted to leave now, and climbed out as quickly as I could, followed immediately by my brother. We packed up and left, never have gone back and never will. Haven't told anyone what actually happened, just said I wasn't feeling well, and they forgot pretty quickly. The thing that really makes it creepy for me is I have never had the dream again. Year after year I would have it consistently, but it just stopped after that. But I still remember it all. And I still feel afraid, almost an external fear, when I think of it. There was a lady, my friend's half-sister's mom, if that makes any sense, who would cut my hair at my house. She had a boyfriend who I had met once, very briefly. About a year after meeting him, she came over to cut my hair, but this time, she unexpectedly brought her boyfriend along with her. I hadn't seen her in a while, and it seemed like something was different, and he was acting very odd. She went to the bathroom and he began proposing that we hang out sometime, but she can't know. I'm serious. I said sure, just to get him off my back. I honestly thought they were on drugs, and I was just trying to keep everything peaceful and get them out of there as soon as possible. As they were finally leaving, he's behind her, and he goes to wave goodbye and throws a note on the ground that said, "Call me, it's our secret, promise," with his phone number on it. I did not call. 2 days later I kept getting missed calls from a number one didn't recognize. I never answered them. Then eventually I got a text message saying, "Hey, it's Ray." His name. "Can you please call me? I really need your help with something." I didn't respond. He kept texting me, saying he needed a favor. Since I never gave him my phone number to begin with, and since this man knows where I live, I was pretty alarmed. I tried to go to the police station to see if there was anything I could do, but the station I went to was not open to the public. That was the only station I knew of. I could have looked up another one, but I kind of felt stupid for being there in the first place, you know, so I just went home. The next morning at 8 AM I wake up to very loud banging on my door. I couldn't see anyone out the window and I don't have a peephole, so I opened the door a little bit. I thought it could have been my parents, since I live right by them. But no, it was Ray. He was pressed up against the door, which is why I couldn't see him out the window. He was smiling, and I quickly shut the door on him and called the police. He left before the cop showed up and sent a text message to the effect of, "I don't want to inconvenience you. Sorry to bug you." The cop told me to text him back saying, "Do not contact me in any way, shape, or form or I will go to the police again," and made me take a picture of the cop car in front of my house and send that too. Then he left saying it's not illegal for someone to like you. Well, the next day I got another missed call from Ray's number. So I went to a different police station. The usual front desk person was sick and the man filling in for her was a cop. He seemed like he actually wanted to help me, and after a quick type in of Ray's phone number to his computer, he had me come around to identify his mugshot. It turns out Ray is a level 3 sex offender, a child rapist to be exact. He wasn't even allowed in my state. The cop said that was just the beginning of it, but wasn't allowed to further discuss his charges. Though he did mention that I was Ray's type. I was 23 at the time, but looked 15 to 16. Ray was 38. So I had to take screenshots of every missed call and every text message, take pictures of the note, put the note in a baggie, and bring it to the police. I googled his name and found some articles about him being a sex offender. I printed them out along with my screenshots and took them to the court house to file a stalking order. It should have just been a harassment order, but the lady there told me to put stalking, so I wouldn't have to pay the $85 fee. Eventually the cops found him a few days later, arrested him, and served him his papers. We had a court date which he did not show up to, and I was given a 10-year protection order. Last I heard, he was released from jail, but went back for burglary.
Leave a comment below for the next video and also don't forget to subscribe and click the like button. See you next time.